Hello to our Southern Hang listeners. Folks, if you've ever listened to one of our shows, you know we are self-proclaimed knuckleheads and enjoy discussing topics from all over the place. Plus, our mouths aren't really worried about what might come out of them. Well, this week's episode is going to be a little bit different. This week, I'm going to be sitting up a bit higher in my chair and minding my P's and Q's, plus trying not to be too Star Trek and fanboy out too much. Listeners, on this episode, we have the best fiddle player in the game, 12-time IBMA Fiddle Player of the Year. His band, the Flamekeepers, are the 7-time Instrumental Band of the Year. Tonight, we get the honor to talk with Michael Cleveland. Michael, welcome to the show, and let me know
guys, thanks for having me.
And let me know if I messed up on any of your stats there, Michael. It seems like Wikipedia can't keep up with all the awards you're winning these days.
No, you got it. You got
it. Good.
But Wikipedia does say that I'm worth like millions of dollars, and I just want to know where the hell that's at.
Maybe we all would. Maybe they're predicting the future, Mike.
Maybe Wikipedia can predict the future. I hope so.
It's coming. It's coming.
That's funny. Mike, do we find you on the road somewhere today, or are you home?
No, I'm at the house.
You're at the house, and you're from Henryville, correct?
Well, I'm from Henryville, and I live in Charlestown, Indiana now, which is not too far from there.
Yep, I know that area. Very good.
The sunny side, as they claim over there.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Well, Mike, we got some questions we'll throw at you, but nothing too hard hitting, and we want to just kind of bounce around, do some banter with you. So you're a fiddle player, but I know you're mandolin, you play guitar, but mainly or predominantly fiddle, I suppose. At what age did the fiddle find you, or did you find it, and how did that work out?
Well, I started playing when I was 4 years old, and it was kind of a weird thing thinking about it now. It wasn't at the time, but none of my family played music at all. But my grandparents got into bluegrass a few years before I was born, and there weren't a lot of places around that people could get together and play bluegrass. And so they helped to start a bluegrass show in Henryville, Indiana. And this, like I say, was a couple of years before I was born. And then there were a couple others that started pretty soon after that. There was another one at Scottsburg, Indiana, and then later on there was one in Madison. So the way it worked was it was pretty much bluegrass somewhere every Saturday night, because my grandparents' show happened every second, fourth Saturday. The Madison show happened on the first Saturday, and then the third Saturday, and if there was a fifth Saturday, there was a bluegrass show at Scottsburg, Indiana. So it was pretty cool. There's nothing like this here today. I really wish there was, but it was the kind of thing where it was an open stage show where bands could show up and sign up for a 30-minute slot, and they would have people, an audience that would come and listen to music, but you'd have these bands playing 30-minute sets from 7 till 11 o'clock sometimes, and a lot of times there were so many bands that showed up, you couldn't get them all on. And that people would show up kind of later in the afternoon, around 4 or so, to sign their band up, because if they didn't do that, they wouldn't get a spot. That's how many bands there were just wanting to play this thing at the time. And I really think, looking back on it now, and what the scene is like around here these days, or anywhere else for that matter, I don't know of anything that's similar to that still goes on. But man, it was great. People would show up in the afternoon and start picking, just jamming, and then at 7 o'clock the show would start. So then you'd have a band on stage. The show in Henryville was at this American Legion Hall. So you'd have a band on stage, and then you'd have, people watching the show, and then down in the basement of this Legion Hall, you'd have probably 2 or 3 bands in different corners of the basement jamming. And there was a room back there where the band who was getting ready to go on next would warm up. And it was just so much music going on. And so, to answer your question, my grandparents started taking me to these from, I guess, the time I was 6 months old, and obviously I don't remember that, but people have told me, oh yeah, I used to see you all the time. You would be in your stroller keeping perfect time to the music, and so I was always into it, and I liked listening to it. And one of my favorite things was to go to my grandparents' house and listen to their record or 8-track collection, and they had I think it was an 8-track player that had a speaker, like these big speakers on either side, one on either side of it. I'd lay one of those speakers down and lay my head on that speaker and go to sleep when I was a little kid. And so,
wow.
When I was 4 years old, which I don't remember much about being 4 years old, but I guess before that, I was really into the song Rocky Top. That was the first thing that really kind of caught my interest. And then I heard a fiddle player play the Orange Blossom Special when I was 4. And that was the thing for me. That was what really made me want to learn how to play. And
and then was it just somebody, your grandma and grandpa handed you a fiddle, and then you just started on your own? Did you have a mentor? Or
No, it was kind of a slow process. Yeah, it was first, how do we figure out how to teach him, who would be good. And there's actually a guy named Jeff Guernsey who's one of the best musicians on the planet, still one of my musical heroes, but he's also from Henryville, Indiana, and still lived there at the time. And my grandparents had asked him about giving me some lessons and took me over there a couple times. And the issue he ran into was he had never taught somebody who was visually impaired. And the main deal was he couldn't figure out how to teach me how to keep the bow in the right position on the strings. And so they ran into a dilemma there, and he's like, man, I'm really not sure how to approach this. I'd like to help. But then I started school at the Kentucky School for the Blind, and they had a classical music program that taught Suzuki violin.
What age was that?
That was when I was 4.
Oh, that was at 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Per Wikipedia, I guess that's a little confusing because it says you went to the Suzuki program, but then it says you went to the Kentucky School for the Blind. So I thought that was 2 different schools. But
it was a music program at the school. As a matter of fact,
understood.
They had an incredible music program. They had strings and horns, and if you wanted to, play band instruments. I mean, when I wasn't playing violin there, I was learning electric guitar there. So it was quite a music program. And so I started taking Suzuki violin, and it was pretty slow going, but I mean, really, like for the first couple of years, it seemed like I really wasn't making much progress. And then I guess something clicked, and then, it happened kind of little by little. A lot of people think that somebody just picks up an instrument, and starts playing, and they're just a natural, and some people do have more ability than others, but it definitely wasn't an overnight thing for me.
Shoot from the videos that that I saw, you were a young fella playing pretty good. So you apparently made some progress from 4 to, heck, I don't know how old you were in those videos I was seeing, but you were young. So,
Yeah. After a while, after that first couple of years, it seemed like I was getting the hang of it a little better. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to do it so bad.
sure.
That's
So when
that's
So
the
when
thing.
was it? It talks about you were real young and you got to play at the. Well, I saw a video of you with Doc Watson in a bathroom, but you were
Yeah.
on fire on that video. I would assume you didn't go straight from there to chilling with Doc Watson in the bathroom, right? In that there had to be
No.
some more
No, I was
some.
13 in that video.
Oh, okay, all right. And then
Boy.
how old were you when you got to do, say, your first, they have, did you go to one of those shows in Henryville or Madison and get to
Oh
play
yeah.
on
Well,
stage with those?
I would go with my grandparents every weekend, and once I got to where I could play, I think I could play one song, Boil the Cabbage Down, and that was my big hit. And I
Okay.
pretty much wore everybody out with that one song, and one of the bands got me up on stage to play that, but I I don't know, I look back on it now, and it's kind of cool because my grandma taped everything. And so if there was a band that was good, like she had a tape recorder and recorded everything. Like I've got somewhere the first one of the first fiddle lessons where Jeff Guernsey was trying to teach me how to make a long bow,
Wow.
and make a smooth sounding bow,
Hmm.
And so yeah, I just started bringing my fiddle, and these people were cool enough to let me play with them. Now I was kind of at the back of the jam, where I should have been because
Hmm.
I wasn't at their level, and but these people would always let me play no matter, and I know how bad I was because I got tapes to prove it. Like it was awful. Like so, and these people were kind enough to uh, to let me play with them when I was a little kid, and trying to learn how to play, and uh, it was really great. It was like the best musicians, like at Henryville and Madison and Scottsburg, all these bluegrass shows. You had all different levels of players. You had everybody from people who were just learning how to play to people who could have been professional musicians had they decided to do that, but they all had lives and, like careers. They had a day job and, wife and family, and just never did the music thing professionally, but they
Sure.
could have.
It's
Well, so go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say it's interesting to hear you say, the first couple of years may be rough, and you went to the festival and kind of warm out with the one song. I know in the book Outliers, right? Malcolm Gladwell talks about it takes 10,000 hours to become a master in any subject, and I think everybody has hobbies, everybody enjoys doing things. I think it's rare when you find somebody that's great at something. I think it's even more rare or rarer when somebody truly becomes a master. How old were you when you sat back and said, "Huh, I'm pretty good at this"?
Well, I think about the time, when I was a teenager and I was getting a few more opportunities to play with higher level bands, and people. Yeah, I always stayed in school. A lot of the kids that I was around that were playing, like their folks kind of did the homeschool thing, and they were at all the festivals and all that. Which my parents they and my grandparents took me to whatever they could possibly go to, but it was a given. I was going to stay in school, and I'm very grateful for that now. But I think at around the time I was a teenager, I thought, man, I might really be able to do this. And
Yeah.
it was always a dream for me, like when I was a little kid, I would pretend like I was playing on the Grand Ole Opry, or, like I wanted to be Scotty Stoneman or Kenny Baker or Benny Martin or all these, all my fiddle heroes. It's like, other kids with cops and robbers and all that kind of thing, man. Those musicians I listened to were my heroes. And
Hmm. Well,
so I
you bring
got
up
to
the.
a point where I
Oh,
was
go ahead,
able
sorry.
to start doing a little bit more, but still, it wasn't a sure thing, even like at my school, we'd have the IEP meeting every year, and the teachers are like, what are you going to do? And I would say, well, I'm going to play music. I'm going to be a bluegrass musician. And they would just laugh, and and I get it, like that.
Yeah.
And some of them were more supportive than others, I'll have to say, and they all said, which this is sound advice, they all said, you need something to fall back on. You need something in case this music thing doesn't work. And I never did find that,
Hmm.
which I was just so determined to do it. But other than that, I think there's so much of this business that's still luck, and that's still being in the right place at the right time, knowing people, like I got recommended for things early on, and I mean, it still happens. It's word of mouth. Somebody can't do something, or somebody's looking for a player. Hey, have you called so and so? And that's kind of how the music business works. But still, there are people that move to Nashville and they think, man, I'm going to hit it big. And they go out, and it takes years, or sometimes it never happens.
Hmm.
So I've really, even though I thought that I was good enough, and other people were recommending things, recommended me for things, it was still a long shot. And I never at any point really thought, yeah, I'm here, I've made it. So that's how
Well,
the
you talk.
music business is.
Well, you talked about Grand Ole Opry. How old were you when you? Because I know you've gotten to play there. How old were you when you got to play Grand Ole Opry?
The first time I got to play the Opry, I was 13. It was right
Yeah.
after that video that you saw of me
Oh,
playing with.
with Doc.
Yeah,
Who were
that
you on stage with? Who were you on stage with that day?
Alison Krauss.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met her. That video was that you saw with Doc. That was taken at the International Bluegrass Music Association's awards show. Well, it was the night of the awards show, and some of that. It was after the awards show that the jam happened, where I got to play with Doc. But
Hmm.
that was pretty much my intro to being at a bluegrass thing of that level, of that magnitude. It was pretty much
Mm-hmm.
like, if you could imagine, the biggest bluegrass festival type thing on earth, where all your heroes, everybody you ever listened to on records, tapes, they were all there. And I was able to go.
This
That was my first year at IBMA.
and this is in Owensboro.
Yes.
Because Owensboro, I know, is where the IBMA, again, the International Bluegrass Music Association, but I know that's where the Owensboro has the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. and
Yeah.
then
Uh-huh.
now that show is moved to a few different cities. This year we're going to Chattanooga. Correct? First year will be every year in
Yeah.
Chattanooga. But
Yep.
yeah. Well, that is too. So that was Owensboro, Kentucky, and you got to kind of discovered and got to hang out with Allison from there, huh? That's
Well,
impressive.
yeah, so I met Allison there, along with a lot of other people that I'd listened to. And not long after that, she was playing a show in New Albany. Her and John Hartford were playing. And she had just been made a member of the Opry. And I think that she was talking to my grandparents, which I don't know how it came up. And yeah, it still surprises me to this day because my grandparents were not pushy at all, but somehow it came up, that, yeah, Michael hopes to get to play the Grand Ole Opry one day or something like that. Well, not long after that, I come home from school on Friday and I got a phone call and picked up the phone and this voice said, "Hey, Mike, it's Allison." I said, "Okay, hey, Allison who?" It's the Alice Krauss. And I really thought it was somebody from school messing with me, because I was one of the few kids that liked bluegrass. I was I was the weirdo at school. So, like, uh, but she said, "No, it's really Allison Krauss, and I would like to invite you to come play the Grand Ole Opry with us." And it was, I'll never forget it, November 27th, 1993.
Wow.
And you're 13 years old.
I was.
So help me out. You answered this earlier. You said that when you were in your teenage years is when you figured out you were pretty good. That's when you thought you were pretty good. So technically 13 is your teenage years, but you're playing on stage at the Grand Ole Opry with Allison Krauss, and it's not hitting you that, hey, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life.
Well, I always hoped I would be.
Yeah.
But you just never know.
Yeah.
You just really.
Well, at that
But
time,
yeah,
was
at
it
that time when I got that call, and even when I did it, I was just like my feet didn't hit the ground
I bet.
forever. I was just.
I bet.
And I was too stupid to be nervous. Like I really was. Like, there's a part of me that's like, oh my God, did you really just say that or do that? Or, God, what an idiot. And then there's another part of me that kind of wishes I had that still, where, when you're a kid, you don't think about, I mean, and I it's not that I took it for granted, but it was just like, yeah, I'm here. This is, this is what I don't know. I just, I was all about it, but I think if that opportunity were to happen, I look back on it now and I think, why weren't you more nervous?
Right. Do you and or have you, and I assume you have, but do you and Allison still play together? Have you had her on, one of your albums, or you
Not
played
a
on one of
lot,
her things?
no. No, I can't really say that we've done much together since that day. I see her from time to time, and obviously we know each other, but no, we haven't really done a whole lot together since then. Maybe my Jerry Clower jokes when I was 13 years old ruined that. No, I don't. I think it. But I would definitely like to, and but regardless of whether we do anything else together, the fact that she gave me that opportunity when I was 13 years old, I'll always be grateful for that.
Huge.
And did you the big name that even the non bluegrass diehards know is Bill Monroe? Did you get to play or spend time with Bill at all?
Well, I got to be around him. As a matter of fact, he was at the Opry that day.
Oh, really?
And then, but a few years before, my grandparents took me to Bean Blossom, Indiana, and there was a thing that they had on Friday afternoon at Bean Blossom called the Sunset Jam. And they would set up just a little PA system by this oak tree at Bean Blossom. And anybody in the park who wanted to play with Bill Monroe, they could do this Sunset Jam. And so I was in the middle of, God, I'm 30 or 40, I don't know how many musicians. And he kind of picked me out, and he said, "You come up here, play fiddle with Tater Tate was his fiddle player at the time." And I got a video of that somebody made that I'm very thankful to have. But so I got to play with him a couple times just in situations like that. And then I saw him at the Opry that day when I played there with Allison. And then he came to here to Louisville and played a festival that Gary Brewer had at one point at Central Park in Louisville. And the banjo player with Bill, Dana Cup, I've been jamming some with him, and he said, "Man, you ought to come up and play one with Bill." And so I got to go up on stage and play Wheelhouse with Bill Monroe, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
That's one thing. I mean, that was the fiddle player's gig, Bill Monroe.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
if there's anybody I could have played with, I wish I would have had that opportunity. Of course, he passed away in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it was an honor to get to do those things for sure.
I was going to ask you, is there anybody that's on your list? You've obviously played with a lot of greats, right? And you guys referenced playing in the bathroom with Doc and playing at the Opry with Allison. But is there anybody that's on your list that you haven't played with yet that you like to, like maybe on a, hate to call it a bucket list, but maybe a top 3 list or anything like that?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, now I will say I've been fortunate enough to play with a lot of my heroes in bluegrass and country music, but I always wished I would have got to play with Tony Rice. I was supposed to one time, and it didn't work out. So I always regretted not getting to play with Tony. But as far as the bluegrass end of things, I've been able to meet and play with most of my heroes, which is something that I think about now even more, because I'll do these, like I was doing a Kenny Baker tribute thing that they were doing in Nashville, and there were all these fiddle players there playing Kenny Baker's music, and here I am, I'm playing something, and I'm thinking, man, half of these people, they're younger than I am, and they never got to be around or meet Kenny Baker, and I hate that, but it's like I'm very fortunate. I consider myself very fortunate that I've been able to be around a lot of those people. But as far as people that I would like to play with, man, I think it'd be cool to play with Joe Bonamassa, or I mean, obviously, like Eric Clapton. I always like Clapton's playing. Just people outside of bluegrass. Some of the more jammy bands, like String Cheese Incident, and I've gotten to sit in with Green Sky Bluegrass a couple times, and that's been really fun.
I got to catch you last year at Bourbon and Beyond when you brought Billy Strings out with you. That was was really cool.
When the
Cool to
power
see.
went
And then,
out.
yeah, that was a great show. And then he brought you out later on his set. I thought that was real cool. You're playing Friday this year, right? At Bourbon and Beyond.
Yeah,
I think
Jason
it's
Carter and I.
you and Jason Carter. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
excited. I'll definitely be out there for that for those 4 days, and so I'll
Oh,
definitely
cool.
come
Yeah, our
mosey
team.
over and
We'll be over there.
check
We'll
out.
be over there.
Yeah.
We'll find you for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, please do.
Like when you do with Billy Strings, or any breaking news you want to put on the show tonight that you're gonna bring out anybody special on your set,
I don't know. It's going to be
or
pretty.
make a
I found out the other day we're only playing 30 minutes, so I
well, there
don't
you
think there's going to be
go.
time. I
Well,
think
back to the show in Henryville, Indiana. You're only up
yeah,
there for
a
30
30
minutes. Yeah,
minute slot. Yeah.
there you go.
Well, Mike, how does that happen? So for when we're at a festival, and for us, the people that are in the audience are watching, and you bring out Billy Strings, or Billy Strings brings you out. Is that something that happens that day, or is this like a month before you guys are talking and you both see each other, are on the same day, and you know what's going to happen? How does that
Well,
communication
I'll
happen
tell
for
you
you?
how it happened that day, that
Yeah.
time. Uh, well, and it's just like I had sent an email, or maybe my publicist, who's now my manager, had sent an email a while back to Billy's manager saying, "Hey, I noticed he's going to be at Bourbon and Beyond, and we cut this song together called For Your Love." And he recorded that on my last album, Loving of the Game. And so, I'm wondering if there's any chance that he would be up for getting up and doing the song. And he said, well, Billy, you know, doesn't really do, I don't know when he's going to be there, and this and that. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. And it is, because I know how it is
Sure.
when you're traveling, and you're going from one place to another. A lot of times you don't know when you're going to get somewhere. And when you're somebody like Billy Strings, you got everybody and their brother trying to get them to do something, and
Mhm.
so I get it. And then so that was a couple months before. And then the week of, it might have been even the day before, Billy texts me and he goes, "Hey, dude, you want to get up and play a couple with us, Bourbon and Beyond?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." I said, "Now, do you think you might be around earlier in the day?" And I told him when we were playing, and "Are you up for doing this?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, I'd love to do it." So yeah, it just
That was
it
incredible. Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
but it just a lot of times it's a spur of the moment thing. That time it might have been in the works a day or two before.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then when we got up there, and we get about 30 minutes into the show, and the transformer blew and the power went out, and I thought, oh shit, this isn't gonna happen at all. I figured we were done, you know. And they got every. That's the first of 3 times that's happened to us. I think it's our bass player Chris's fault. He plays his bass solo sometimes, and he hits one of these low notes at the very end of it. And man, if something's gonna blow after he hits that low note, that's when it's gonna happen.
Damn it,
Now,
Chris.
now, last year was Flamekeepers, and this year they're advertising as Carter and Cleveland. Will the Flamekeepers be with you
No,
this year at all, or is it
it'll be a
just?
different band.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah,
right. And you and the Flamekeepers have been together for a long while now.
absolutely.
I liked on that documentary. I think your lead singer was trying to be a little humble. He said they were just parking lot pickers till you came around, but those
Well,
boys
we all
seem to
were.
have talent. Yeah.
We all were, because they actually, like Josh and the mandolin player Nathan, they both, met them both in Henryville at my grandparents' thing.
Hmm.
So, I mean, we all just played together local stuff, and it's kind of morphed into this.
Okay. And y'all been together how long now?
This
I know y'all are
configuration
7.
of the band, well, Josh, Nathan, and I, it's about 13 years as a band,
Wow.
and
That's
then
great.
as the trio, and then Chris, the bass player. It's weird. I feel like I have my dream band now. This bass player that I was telling you about that blows everything up. He he and I have known each other for God 20 something years, and it's always been, man, I hope we get to play in a band together. I hope we get to do something. I met him. He played for a short while in Rhonda Vincent's band when I was there, and we really hit it off. And so he's been playing with us for about 7 years now. And
Okay.
then, but I've known him a lot longer than that. And our banjo player, Cody Looper, who just rejoined the band, he played him in the band before about 8 years ago. And he left because where he had just started working at this place that and he wasn't able to get the time off. And see, that's the thing, a lot of people think, man, I'm gonna be a music star, and all I'll have to do is sit around and play music and not have to work. And well, it could be that's and a few people are lucky enough to be able to do that, but the reality is most of the bluegrass musicians on the circuit today, they all do other things. They all have jobs that they work. And Josh, our guitar player, the lead singer that you mentioned, he does real estate appraisals, and he stays busy all the time. And so it's just kind of like we all hope to get to the point, which I've kind of reached the point where I can do it and make a decent living at it. But I'm involved in a lot of things, so when I'm
Sure.
not on the road with
I mean,
Flame.
I mean, how many days a year do the Flamekeepers get to play out? Do y'all have like an average,
No, not really. I mean,
number? Just
some years are just slammed. I feel like we played 75, 80 dates last year, and maybe it's a little less this year, but then this year I came out with the record with Jason Carter, so we've been doing some more. And it just kind of depends on what's going on at the time. But yeah, we like to I don't think anybody wants to be ridiculously busy. Like, if you do more than 100 dates, you're not home at all. So
sure.
It's a young man's game, that kind of travel.
yeah, and it's hard to make it financially feasible to do that too.
You've referenced a couple of instruments there and some of the band members. I think I saw that sometimes you learn songs on a guitar, and I think I saw in the documentary Adam Biebelhauser referenced the first time he met you, you were playing a banjo, and I think I saw as well maybe even a mandolin. Is it easier to list the instrument you can play, or is it shorter to list the instrument you don't play?
Yeah, well, there's a lot I don't play. I mean, basically the instruments I play, I started playing fiddle first, and I guess that's what mainly people know me as is a fiddle player. So I would consider that my first and main instrument. And I started mandolin when I was 9, and then started guitar when I was 12, and started messing around with banjo when I was about 16. And I don't get to play those other instruments as much. Ouch, I like playing, especially fiddle, mandolin, and guitar. Banjo is kind of one of those things that's sort of always been a challenge for me. It might be the hardest instrument I ever tried to learn how to play other than the fiddle. But
Well, there's no shit.
Interesting.
There's no shot. You got one of them instruments sitting next to you, do you?
I got a fiddle, yeah.
Would you grace us with a minute or two? Just whatever
Let me.
hits you. Would
Yeah,
that
what do you
bug
want to
you?
hear?
Is that a hard ass? Oh, buddy, we'd take whatever.
Whatever you're throwing, down.
Whatever you throw down. You'd be our first live artist on our. We've had 3 or 4 musicians now, but nobody's ever picked up anything while we're discussing their music. So you'd be our first.
Yeah, well, this audio might be. You'll have to let me know how this audio is. Yeah, you got that?
Oh,
got
that was great.
audio?
Absolutely. That was awesome. Wow.
Damn.
Heck yeah.
That's
Man,
awesome.
thank you.
It's fucking
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
That
you.
was incredible. That is incredible.
Hey, Michael, I've got to ask, just listening to you play, right? So that was just, I feel like that was just off the cuff. Is there anything that you can't do with a fiddle? Like, as your,
Oh, I find out more and more stuff I can't do every day. Yeah.
well, I mean, is it like, do you have a sound in your head and maybe you can't pull it together or physically, like just get it out of your head? Or sometimes do you put something together and you're like, holy shit, what just happened right there? Like, how do I replicate that?
Yeah. Well, it does kind of work that way with bluegrass is such an improvisational music. It's a lot like jazz in that way. So, like, we don't always play things the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the best musicians in this genre of music are the kind of players that are reactive. They listen to what's going on around them. They listen to these other players that they're playing music with, and they might hear one of those, like if we're playing in a band, like I might hear Nathan or Cody, play something that inspires me to play something totally different than what I was kind of planning on playing. I always have kind of a plan,
Mm.
but I'll get into it and then or I'll hear something that inspires something different, and it's kind of like you're taking a chance. You're going out on a limb, and sometimes you make it, sometimes the limb breaks. But that's the most fun thing about the music that we play, and that's the stuff that I really like listening to, is the musicians who take chances and don't always play it the same way every time.
When it feels like you've taken that leap several times enough to know that you're taking I don't want to say a safe leap, I don't mean it like that, but you know pretty much that you're going to hit this, and you know where you're going to be, or you can even read where these other musicians are when
Yeah,
they're taking the leap, and you know, okay, they're good enough. I know where this is going, and you
yep,
start reading into that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you play with people long enough, or there are certain people that you play with the first time, and it feels like you've been playing. You know, they're just that. There's just people that you click with musically, that it just happens.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm still looking for a group like that for our podcast. If you got any friends that you know in a podcast realm, let me know.
Oh yeah.
Hold on now, Mike.
I'm kidding.
I think that was a shot.
You're
Bus
talking about
chops.
these guys.
Yeah. These knuckleheads.
That was a shot. That was a shot at
okay.
us, Michael. Yeah.
I think Redmond's joining up with Mike and taking this on another. They're going to join and start a new podcast.
Right.
I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'll listen. Mike, I want to switch gears on you here a little bit, and just check in here. You're in the documentary. There is a conversation about your sobriety, and that it is something that that you found and that you work toward. And just want to check in here with you on that. Where are you in that? How long have you been sober? And we talked about this before we went on. I've been sober myself now 17 years, so it's something that I'm open about and talk about, and we've talked a little bit on the podcast before, but I'd love to hear your story or whatever you want to share with it.
Yeah, well, congratulations. You know, the whole thing with me, and I think you just kind of fall into it, when bluegrass is it's kind of evolved into a different thing now, maybe a different audience, but I mean, the old school bluegrass, it's a very family oriented thing. It's something you can take your kids to, and all that, but they usually don't allow alcohol in the concert area, and they don't sell beer at the concession stands or anything like that. But after hours, if there's a jam session going on at somebody's campsite, there's probably going to be beer and whiskey, or whatever kind of alcohol there, moonshine or whatever. So, I mean, it's almost like a rite of passage kind of thing where, I never did feel forced to drink. I never did feel like I was pressured to drink by people. So, I'm very fortunate in that regard. I was around some people who, like on the road. I can't say any of my friends were necessarily this way, but people that I worked with on the road, at one point it was like, well, if you're not drinking 6 beers, then you're not, you might as well just not even do it. So,
Right.
I kind of did. I'm a very all or nothing person. I mean, as you can tell, like I got into music and I'm still in it. It's all I do. It's all I think about, and it's all I've ever wanted to do. And uh, and I've always tried to be the best that I could possibly be at it. And there's a competitive thing with music, and I think I take that approach with other things. And drinking is kind of one of those things, which I like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun until it wasn't fun, and you know, I don't think I never drank every day, but
Mm-hmm.
anytime there was an opportunity to drink, I would drink a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, be
uh,
proud, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. We're real proud of our guy Sherman and of anybody going through that battle that can finally you know, I don't want to say beat it. I can't even speak that language because
well,
I
you know, and I'm
but
not
you know
sure.
but that maybe control it a little bit, you know.
And I'm not sure that I was a full blown alcoholic. You know, like I never
Mm-hmm.
did buy it every day. You know, well, probably the main thing was I didn't have access to it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would have, it might have been a different thing. But uh, I think it just got to the point where it I just got sick of it and
Sure.
realized, man, if I don't figure this out, I'm never gonna do anything better or any more than what I'm doing now.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
uh,
sounds like from your side it was kind of getting, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but it was just getting in the way. You had other goals and other
yeah,
things you were wanting to do, and for you that, you know, you talked about being all or nothing. If it's in the way, then you feel like it's almost nothing, right? You feel like you're not
absolutely.
hitting what you need to hit. So I get it. I 100% understand that, but good for you, man. Good
Well,
for
the
you.
cool thing was, and the thing that really surprised me, which, you know, when you're in it, you're not aware of it, but the more I realized, you know, once I stopped drinking, like, I realized how little my friends actually drank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I would be the one that would like to drink a lot, and my friends, you know, they all drank beer, and you know, like the guys in the band, we would party, but you know, they always had a stopping place where I did not, you know. But
Mm.
the cool thing was, you know, and they all say the same thing, you know, like you have to change your environment, you have to change the people you're around. Well, I never had to do that because I never was pressured by anybody to do it or to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing it. And and as a matter of fact, you know, the guys in the band, uh, you know, when I told them that, because I have quote unquote tried to quit a couple times, but it was always for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something bad would happen. I would do something stupid, and you know, my dad would lecture me about it, and I would try to quit for a while. But you know, the only time it really worked for me is when I decided I'd had enough. But once I did, the guys in the band, they were like, "Well, okay, we just won't drink on the road."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Like
Having
Well,
that
that's huge.
having that
yeah,
That's
support,
exactly.
that
huge.
support,
I don't know if
absolutely.
you like to understand how huge that is. You know,
Yeah. Give you
everywhere we
to give you
go,
support. Yeah.
every night, you know, there's alcohol. You know, people, the people in my band, we have the opportunity to get alcohol anytime.
Right.
Mm.
And the fact that those guys were, you know, good enough to do that, where,
Yeah.
It
you know,
feels, it, yeah, that's huge. That support system is huge. It feels like that's been like an ongoing thing, I think, within the music industry, and maybe even more than that, maybe just the arts industry. I don't want to say music only. That, you know, you've got sobriety tents and things along those lines, and even festivals that now are, you know, more family friendly and some that are, you know, sober only, that type thing, and people more aware and cautious of kind of how that's going. But
yeah.
that's great. That's great that your band is that, you know, supportive of you and wanting to make sure that it was good for everybody. That's
Oh
awesome.
man. Yeah, and it really helped me a lot because you know, they knew also it would be hard for me to do it if everybody else was doing it around me. And
Sure.
I've had some friends that have quit in that situation successfully, but man, it would be a lot tougher.
Yeah, if you didn't have the right people around you.
Yep.
Hey, so speaking of the right people around you, I'm gonna throw a question out there, and I think maybe you know what answer I'm gonna try to lead you to. So sometimes you've got assistants, you got some people that are helping you out there when you're on the road and getting you from your your recording or whatnot. Is there any single person? And I'm not trying to lead you one way or not, but any one of your good friends that goes with you sometimes on the road and takes you some of these sessions that you want to talk about? Anybody in particular we might know? I wasn't sure if you
Well,
want
there's a few people. Now, your mom has taken me to one
to.
session.
That's where I was going to. I was
Yeah.
hoping we'd get. I
One
was hoping we
session,
could say something. Yeah, but it was
Which
probably the best, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah, I've known your mom for many, many years, and
Hmm.
man, we have played a lot of music together. Uh, her partner Dave Shattuck, who recently passed away,
Yeah.
he would have jam sessions at his house all the time, and I would try to go to those when I could. It wasn't as often as I would have liked, uh,
Hmm.
but it's so weird with your mom, because I've known her even longer than her, even before her and Dave met.
Hmm.
I would see your mom when the organization Bluegrass Anonymous started. She was a big part of that, and still is somewhat, I think.
Hmm.
But she was, I think she started out playing mandolin, and
She did. Yep.
she was just somebody that I would always see at the jams, always super supportive of anything that, well, the local bluegrass uh, community in general. If
Sure.
anybody was doing anything local, she was usually there. Either that
Yeah.
or making people aware of it.
No, she helped me prep for the show. I talked to her last night for a little while, and again today, just to make sure that I wasn't stepping on toes or saying something wrong. I wanted to make sure I had my
Oh,
P's and Q's together. So I called her yesterday and kind of reviewed a few things, and then she's shooting me text right now. She's leaving her buddy Phil's place in Fairdale as we
oh
speak, and
yeah,
from the Thursday night picking session that they have. And so
Fairdale
she
Phil.
said, "Are you?" Yeah, she was like, Are you still talking?" I said, "We're still on right now." So I just shot her a text. So
Yeah.
she's excited about the show. So
Oh well,
yeah, she
glad it
loves
worked
you
out.
she loves you to death, buddy.
She is great, man. And I think with it just seemed like when her and Dave met, it just she got into playing music more,
Hmm.
and it was just I've never seen two people together that were so
Yeah,
that were so
they
meant for each other.
yeah they matched. They
You
matched
know?
very well. We're mom. I know you're going to listen. Me and Michael talked before the show, and we wanted to dedicate this show to Dave.
Yeah,
It is his 73rd birthday today. Just coincidentally, I didn't even catch on until
I saw that on
we're doing that.
Facebook
But yeah,
today.
I didn't catch on that we had the 2 and 2 match up together to have this show and be his 73rd birthday. So that's awesome, and we're thinking about him today. Well, let me do what we need to probably wrap up here a little bit, Michael, and let you get on with your night. I keep you up too late, but I wanted to throw out this September 18th is the first IBMA, the International Bluegrass Music Awards in Chattanooga, Tennessee. First year they'll be held there. It started in Owensboro, moved to Louisville, went to Nashville, Raleigh, and now in Chattanooga. But Michael Cleveland is associated with these awards. He is up for Instrumental Group of the Year with the Flamekeepers, Song of the Year, Outrun in the Rain, Michael Cleveland and Jason Carter from Carter and Cleveland Album of the Year with Carter and Cleveland, Instrumental Recording of the Year, Bluegrass in the Backwoods with Carter and Cleveland, Collaborative Record of the Year, Outrun the Rain from Carter and Cleveland with, is this J. Lee Roberts? Am I saying her
Yeah,
name right?
yeah,
J. Lee
Jalen
Roberts,
Robbins.
J. Lee Roberts and Vince Gill. And then Shooting for Your 13th Fiddle Player of the Year. Also, you were up for Fiddle Player of the Year. So that is crazy impressive, man.
Well, thanks. It's always an honor to be nominated. You know, it's like the awards are voted on by your peers in the industry. So the fact that they think enough of what we do, it's very encouraging.
Michael, I've got to ask, like, what are your aspirations at this point? I know when we started the show, Craig kind of rattled off some of the accolades that you've received, and it took him 2 pens just to write all the pending nominations here, right? So, like, like, what are your aspirations and goals? Like, do you want to be the best ever, right? Like, I feel like you're in those discussions today, or like, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I think now, you know, I'm really, and you know, kind of I've kind of headed towards this in the last few years, but I think a lot of people know me as a bluegrass player, but mainly I want to play. You know, I'll always be a bluegrass player. That's what I love, and that's what I love to play. But I like playing all different styles of music, and so I've kind of went more in that direction. And I hope that, you know, it's like I was talking to Billy one day, and this was a while back, and I said, "Man, I'd love to play some with you." And he's like, "Really?" And I've talked to a few kind of jam bands, or you know, bands that weren't bluegrass, that said, "Well, we had no idea that you would be even interested." Bela Fleck is another example, because Bela is, you know, obviously he started out as a bluegrass player, but he's taken the banjo to, I mean, just anywhere a banjo can go. You know, he has played all different genres of music, and really writes some advanced music. And that's what he said one time. I heard it in an interview say it, that you know, really wasn't sure that Michael would want to play with me. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, yeah, why wouldn't I want to play with Bela Fleck? You know, one of the greatest banjo players on planet Earth. You know, but in his mind, I'm a bluegrass player, so therefore, you know, that there are a lot of people who they find their thing, and that's all that they want to do. And I will say, I still have, you know, some music that I'm more interested in than other styles of music, but I just don't. I'm really trying now to play as much and as much different music as I can play, as well as still being a bluegrass fiddler and representing bluegrass music. So that's my goal.
Awesome.
That is killer. Is there before we you know, get out of here and let you have your time, is there anybody that you're hoping to bump into in the backstage at Bourbon, or with that many artists being in one spot, that you're
Man,
like,
I
you know,
don't even know who's playing that day.
I'm gonna slide over and
Who's playing that day?
on Friday? I don't know. I'm not sure on Friday. I know Sturgill's there on Saturday. It'd be cool.
Oh, man.
Let's get you a Sturgill, buddy.
That'd be great.
Well, you talk about jam bands and completely off genre. Fish is playing that night. So
Saturday or Friday?
Friday night.
Oh, man.
They're playing a double set. They're playing a double set. They're playing 2 sets. I don't know how that's going to work, if it's going to be on one stage and then go over to the other stage, because there's 2 stages. I don't know how, you know, 2 of the main stage. I don't know how that's going to work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, Michael, I appreciate your time, man. We thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're definitely going to be at Bourbon and Beyond. We're definitely going to come watch your set, and I'll hopefully I can find Mom and go watch you play, you know, somewhere else also, when it's just you and the Flamekeepers, or you and Carter, and catch y'all catch y'all
Come
somewhere.
say, hey, yeah, it'll be a quick one there at Bourbon and Beyond, but we're looking forward to it.
Well, we'll definitely come by and see you. And man, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This was a complete honor, and what a cool show. I can't wait for when this goes live. So
absolutely,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, thank you, Michael, and we'll come see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.